All right, everybody, welcome back to the #1 television program in the history of the entire universe. I am Brian Lee Durfee, author of The Forgetting Moon, The Blackest Heart, and The Lonesome Crown, all three books published by Simon & Schuster's Saga Press. Today I'm going to be reviewing Traitor by Charles de Lint. This book came out in 1997. It is part of his massive series of novels set in the fictional town of Newford. I've got all the Charles de Lint books over here. I've got a whole shelf of nothing but Charles de Lint. We've got all the Newford novels and all of his other novels over there. In fact, I've met Charles de Lint on several occasions. He has signed my books. So you can see the signature right there. And not only that, but Charles de Lint was one of the authors that gave me a lot of encouragement when I was trying to become a new author. Long before any of these books got published, I was friends with Charles de Lint, and he was giving me writing advice and all sorts of things. So, good dude, good fellow, and I love his books. They're, how do I compare? What do I compare the Newford series of novels? It's a fictional town of Newford. It's kind of got some supernatural things going on in it, some ghosts and a lot of different creatures crawling through the town. It's not quite like Harry Dresden or anything, but it's more of like a, I would say like a Buffy the Vampire Slayer vibe to it. A lot of interesting characters in all the books. All of the books have the characters interact with each other. All of the books are standalone novels, though you don't need to read one before the next or anything like that. But just know that a lot of the characters are in this book are also in other books, but each book is a standalone series. So we've got a nice cover here, done by John Howe. Now John Howe also, you might remember he worked on the Lord of the Rings movies with Peter Jackson as one of the art directors. I will say this is the first. Now I'm doing a reread of all of the Newford novels by Charles de Lint. I will tell you, though, that this is the first ever de Lint book that I read back in 1997 when it came out. This was the book that got me hooked on Charles de Lint, and I started collecting all of his stuff after this book. So this is the second time I've read it. It starts out with a character named Max Trader, who's... we open with this character ruminating on the delicate art of making a guitar. Yeah, people actually make them. I mean, it's like an art. I think they call it a luthier. Luthier. That's what a guitar maker is known as, a luthier. I think. At least that's what they call it in the book. And one of the things I liked about this opening was not only do we get to see Max Trader ruminating about his life as a guitar maker, but also his life as a woodworker in general. And the scene, the opening scene just demonstrates de Lint's love of artwork, how his love of the use of words, how he constructs sentences, his luscious prose, just how he describes things. Everything in these novels is, even though these are novels about supernatural phenomena and, mythological creatures, it's very subtle. It's very subtle. It's not bludgeoning you over the head with it. And that's kind of the whole point of the magic of these books, is there's a lot of this mythology going on and a lot of supernatural things happening, but it's not the point of the story. The point of the story is these characters in this town and their lives. That even a guitar maker has a lot to say about the world. And the different musicians that he knows and the different other artists that he grows up in this art community of this town. So the writing itself is just as delicate as the art of guitar making. Now Max Trader one day wakes up in a body that's not his own. He looks in the mirror and he's like, that's not me, that's somebody else. Kind of reminiscent of the movies like, I can't even remember the name of the movie, but it's got Lindsay Lohan and I think Jamie Lee Curtis, I don't remember, but they trade bodies, like the daughter trades bodies with the mom. Or the other one that I do remember where John Denver changes bodies with a dog, a St. Bernard. Anyway, that's kind of the gist of what's going on in this book. Max Trader, this guitar maker, wakes up in a body that's not his own. He does not recognize the face. And the person that has his body is a guy named Johnny Devlin. And we get to see this trait. It's called Trader. I mean, Max Trader, Johnny Devlin, they trained bodies. People that know them don't know them now, or they kind of like suspicious, like, why does this guy not remember me now? A lot of hijinks happens, but it's not like funny ha 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 hijinks. It's like quite serious hijinks, because each character, Johnny Devlin and Max Trader, has their own flaws, their own, well, Johnny Devlin's just a bad guy. And now Max Trader has the face of Johnny Devlin, who is kind of this asshole to everybody. And now Johnny Devlin, who's been an asshole to everybody, has the face of Max Trader, who's treated everybody kindly. And it's kind of like the interactions between them and the people that they know in their life. So we've got Tanya, who is the girlfriend of the deadbeat kind of asshole Johnny Devlin, and she lives with her friend Zeffie. And there's a lot of romantic entanglements involved here. Another character that's is Jilly Coppercorn, who was the main character in The Onion Girl, which I read and reviewed earlier, a couple years ago. There's The Onion Girl. Then there's also the 15-year-old girl Nia and her mother Lisa, who are also kind of enwrapped in this, and along with some other characters and perhaps mythological creatures. I'll just mention that. I don't want to spoil anything. But anyway, that's the whole thing, is how do these two men, Johnny Devlin, the asshole, and Max Trader, the kind of nice guy, who've switched bodies, how do they navigate life now? How does Max convince people that he's not the asshole Johnny Devlin? How does Johnny Devlin pretend to be a nice guy when he's really not a nice guy? One of the, there's some themes in the book that a couple of scenes really sort of, and I'll read the scenes to you. Well, just a couple of little. So a lot of this is talking about how when you, like, who you are representative. No, is your outer shell representative of who you really are. That's the theme of this book, Trader, and why we've got these body swaps. And one of the characters kind of sums it up. I learned to be happy with myself. I figure if I can't be happy with who I am, with my own company, then how can I expect anybody else to like me? Or maybe more to the point, how could I respect them for liking me? Yeah, I mean, a lot of people feel that way. They know that deep down inside they're kind of bad people. And so when other people like them or want to be in a relationship with them, they're kind of like, the fuck is that? And why would they want to be with me? I'm a douchebag. It's like, I can't even respect them. They want to be with me, which makes me not even want to respect them. It happens a lot. There's a conversation between two characters here. I guess my real problem, Tanya says, I don't do anything. I can't do anything. Jilly shook her head. Everybody carries the gift of the creative impulse. Some people just find it easier to access, that's all. Or can access it in ways that are more traditionally recognizable. I don't know if I believe that, Tanya said. I mean, I know I can do things. I have done things. My problem is that I don't have this burning need to do anything. Not the way you and Zeffie have to paint or play music. Passion doesn't have to come from creating art, Jilly said. You can just be as passionate in your appreciation of art. Tanya says, that's what Gordy said to me. Well, he was right, Jilly said. I can't write stories, but I love to read. I couldn't play an instrument for the life of me, but I don't think I could live without music. Tanya says, but it's just not the same. No, Jilly agreed, but that doesn't make it bad. Personally, the thing I admire the most in a person is their goodness and decency, not whether they can paint or carry a tune. I suppose, Tanya said, but I want that passion. It's like I have this hole in me, and since I can't fill it up with something creative the way you or Zeffie does, I fill it up with men. I leave Johnny, so right away I want to hook up with Gordy. Yeah, so this is one of the main themes of this book is how people who don't find something that they love in life, whether it's themselves or they have a passion for writing or music or artwork or whatever, a lot of people that just don't, they just expect other people to entertain them. It's like what this girl is saying is, I don't have anything in my life that I'm passionate about, so I fill up my life just with one bad man after the next, just with one, dopamine fix after the next, just with one, adrenaline hit after the next. And it all resolves in this book, it all resolves around who the men she is that she's dating. And it's a really good book, a really subtle book, even though it's got this supernatural thing where people trade places. It really makes everybody in the book really examine who they are as a person, whether they are who they are on the outside, who they are on the inside, what they believe about themselves. And the people that have the most difficult time with these two bodies, the two guys jumping bodies, is not really the two guys. It's the people around them really have to examine themselves the most. I really thought this was a fantastic book. Another 10 out of 10 by Charles de Lint. It was just absolutely such a great little subtle supernatural examination of life. A very literary book, literary fiction is what I call it. And I give it a 10 out of 10, of course.